Hey guys, and welcome back to the 1 HP Challenge series. As you may remember from the previous episode, I have been struggling to get the Demon Scythe. When I first set out to get it, I thought it was going to be easy, seeing as it only has a 1 in 35 drop chance. But in reality, it took me 170 demons and over 50 deaths to finally get my hands on it. Now, you may be wondering, why is it so important for you to have this weapon? After the first couple hours of farming, couldn't you have just given up and gone for something else? Well, let me tell you why I want it so bad. It's because of the absolutely horrible, nightmare-inducing enemies known as bees. See, my next quest in this playthrough is defeating Queen Bee, and in order to do so, I need to traverse the jungle. And the thing is, 1 HP and the jungle don't go very well together. Not only are there these stupid beehives absolutely everywhere, but the boss herself also spawns large quantities of these pests. The Demon Scythe is a perfect tool for disposing of bees, and crucial for my strategy in the Queen Bee fight. So now that I have my hands on it, I set out to the jungle to find myself a hive. And after a few unfortunate deaths, I managed to find one. So it's now time to set up an arena. The first thing that I did was slap down a peace candle to reduce the spawns while I was working, and then I set off digging out a large rectangular area. Ooh, look, a gold portal. Those are rare in 1.4. But wait, something's wrong. Can you spot it? That's right, there's a single thorn right there. But will I see it? No. Of course I wouldn't. But even with deaths like this, I did manage to completely dig out the arena. And after adding some platforms, I was just about ready to start the fight. One of the last things that I wanted to do was create an easy path from the boss to the Queen Bee larva, so that I wouldn't get stuck on something at the beginning of the fight. And it was at this time that I learned something new about Terraria. Did you guys know that grappling to the bottom of a block will destroy a larva placed on top of it? Because I sure didn't. This gave me quite a scare, and well, I didn't last very long in this fight. But after crafting up some abominations, grabbing my red balloon that I didn't have for the previous fight, and setting up a respawn closer to the arena, I was ready to try again. My second attempt went quite a bit better, but again, I fell victim to Queen Bee. And my third attempt wasn't any better than that, or my fourth, or my fifth. But on my 6th attempt, things started looking better. My strategy for the Queen Bee fight was pretty simple. Cycle from one side of the arena to the other, jumping over her dashes and shooting her with the Zappinator. Once she transitioned into the bee spawning phase, I switched to the Demon Scythe, and I would train the small bees behind me while firing the scythes at them. Then, once all the little bees are taken care of, I would switch back to the Zappinator. And I pretty much just kept repeating this pattern. So, after a stressful 2-minute fight, I got her down to 172 HP, and then died to these stupid little bees that I didn't see. I was not very happy. But the next fight went better, and after repeating the same tactics again, I was able to defeat her, even earning myself a trophy. Feeling relieved that I had defeated Queen Bee, I returned to my base and placed down the trophy in excitement. But it's not over there. Now, I have another foe to worry about. Skeletron, defender of the dungeon and keeper of the couch. He was not going to be an easy foe. See, when I fought bosses like Queen Bee or Brain of Cthulhu, I was able to craft up multiple summons and then fight the boss over and over until I won. The problem with Skeletron is that he can only be fought once a night, meaning that every time I died, I would have to wait an entire Terraria day or 24 real-life minutes to fight Skeletron again. Now, I did have access to a bed, which drops the wait time from 24 minutes down to only 4.8 minutes, but this is still a really annoying problem when I would need to fight Skeletron numerous times before winning. So knowing this, I set out to build a large and open arena that would hopefully give me the best possible chances against the boss. This included completely destroying the entrance to the dungeon, which took quite a while, but I did manage to complete my arena, and I was just about ready to start fighting. Before I did so, however, I made sure to set up another respawn point at the dungeon so that I wouldn't have to walk across the entire map in between fights. And now, it was time. I summoned the boss from the old man, and I began to fight. Hands were flying, lasers were shooting, and Skeletron was angry. It didn't take long for me to make a mistake and die though, so now it was time to wait. And after the next few attempts went just as poorly as the first, I decided that I needed some more practice. So I did what I had done before for all of the other bosses, and I went into a journey mode world to refine my strategy. After a good bit of practice, I decided that it would be necessary to expand my arena, so I set my eyes on the massive tree that was blocking my path, and I relocated it in into my inventory. Now, with my expanded arena, it was once again time to fight. With all of my extra practice on this fight, I was able to consistently make it much farther than my previous attempts. However, I still wasn't winning. No, I was far from winning. But as it turns out, I'm quite a bit better at the skull phase than I am at the hand phase, because once I got past the hands, it only took me 2 attempts to defeat the boss. With Skeletron gone, I returned to my base and cleared out my inventory. Now, it was time to enter the dungeon. My dungeon adventures went just about as you would expect. Slow progress and a lot of deaths. Getting golden keys was not exactly easy, and exploring the dungeon to find chests was even harder. But with some perseverance, I was able to get my hands on some nice loot. The thing is though, one of the most useful items from the dungeon, being the cobalt shield, is completely useless to me, because every time I would normally take knockback, I would just die instead. And I actually found this to be the case with a lot of the dungeon items. The only item that I was excited for out of the dungeon was the shadow key, which is quite useful when it comes to obtaining loot from the underworld. I also managed to get a Muramaso, which I guess is nice because I can make it into the Terrablade and the Zenith from that, if I ever make it that far. Guess we'll just have to see. Now that we're nearing the end of the video, I want to quickly address the problem that I brought up in the previous episode, that being the Goblin invasion. In case you're not aware, let me quickly get you up to speed. See, the Goblin invasion event will only trigger if your character has at least 200 HP, and you can't even use a Goblin battle standard unless you have this health requirement met, which means that my 1 HP character will never be able to get a Goblin invasion, and subsequently will never be able to get a Goblin Tinkerer. Now, many of you suggested that I should just create a second character to spawn the Goblin invasion, and then fight it with my 1 HP character, or something along those lines. And this would work, but I think that it kind of ruins the spirit of this challenge. See, the whole idea is that I want to see if I can beat the game with only 1 HP, and that means that anything that is unobtainable by a 1 HP character should stay off limits. This includes the Goblin Tinkerer, but that is okay. I still think that I'll be able to make it through the game, even if I don't have some of the better accessories. I guess we'll just have to see. But anyways guys, that's gonna do it for this episode. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing to keep up to date with my videos in the future. And with that out of the way, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.